Welcome, everyone, to the Global Legal Tech Hub Day in this year, 2023. My name is Kariuki, and I'll be your host for the Africa and Middle East Roundtable. With me joining for this conversation is Pascale, all the way from Lebanon, and Eunice from Nigeria.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me on board. My name is Pascale Dahrouj. I'm from Beirut, Lebanon. I'm the founder and CEO of Willminds LLC. What we do at Willminds is that we empower and protect individual governments and businesses through dispute resolution, consulting, and training. A major part of our work is focused on legal tech and innovation. So I look forward to a fruitful conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascale. And now we shift all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Eunice.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eunice. I'm really excited to be here today. So I lead a team at Sidebrief. And at Sidebrief, what we do is we provide a simple digital platform for entrepreneurs to launch, to manage, and scale their businesses across different locations. So we're like a one-stop solution for business registration, for banking, and for annual regulatory compliance for these entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm looking to a very exciting conversation, and I would like to, kick off by asking both of you. You work in the legal tech space,
right?
What has been your experience in both, in the regions that you work in? Does legal tech have a place in the broader marketplace when you're looking at tech in general?
I mean, I could go ahead and take that. Yes, obviously, legal is a part of our everyday lives. There's issues that have to be solved on a daily basis. So yes, I'm circling back to your question. Legal tech is an integral part of, the tech space in Nigeria, in West Africa, and I think in Africa at large. Although there are other part of the industry that obviously getting waves. There's like fintech, there's prop tech, and there's all these other industries. But legal tech is very integral to all of what these other spaces in the technology industry does, right? So we need a technology that helps in terms of dispute resolution. We need, legal tech like ours that helps to set all of these entities and all of these other industries up. So I'm pretty sure, I'm very convinced that legal tech is a germane and very integral part of the technology space in our region. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. So working with that, we have noticed for the last 10 or so years that a lot of the trends, at least around financing and investment, has been driven mostly around, fintech, health tech has also come in,
right.
edutech and consumers. So what I would like to understand from you, what do you see as the investment trend in legal tech? I think we can start off with Pascale.
Okay, so legal tech ecosystem in the Middle East and Africa has been growing over the past few years, and this has been attracting a lot of investment. And the growth of this ecosystem has many reasons behind it, which investors are seeing. And as I said, it's bringing up funding to enhance this ecosystem further and further. First, there's now an increased awareness among the legal professional and the legal industry about legal tech and its importance and its impact and usage. Then there is the emergence of a lot of legal tech startup and a supportive ecosystem for those startups within the region and around the world. So enhancing and supporting innovation in legal tech. Then you have also the focus to improve the access for justice in the region. And we can see this across the region in the Middle East and in Africa. They are looking for ways to improve the access and the delivery of justice within the region. And this is where legal tech is essential in this regard. And then you have a lot of government incentive taking places. So this whole ecosystem, legal tech ecosystem, is bringing a lot of funding. But this does not mean that that there are no challenges to investment. We're still way back. there's a lot of opportunity, but there's also a lot of challenges ahead of us. And these challenges must be addressed and the risk must be mitigated for investors to be more interested to put funding into this, and for government also to invest in their public sector and in legal tech in the public sector. I don't want to take long, but I want to highlight on few of the challenges that need to be addressed for investment to be flowing more in this sector. And we have challenges coming from investor because many of the investor lack the market awareness and what are the opportunity and solution for legal tech. Then we have legal tech is unlike fintech and other tech or health tech or whatever, because there's a long sales cycle. You don't see the revenue immediately in legal tech. So because of this long sales cycle, investors tend to be a bit hesitant, or those who want to fund or put funding need to see there is scale and growth of revenue within that. And this is one major issue. Then you have the regulatory complexity. Let's not forget, when you have different jurisdiction, legal is not something that you can apply it locally to one jurisdiction, but now with cross borders, commerce and everything. So we need to take this aspect, and we need to be compliant when we talk about legal tech with those regulation and system. Then one issue to consider when also bringing investment is that the customer base is fragmented. I mean, because of the different legal specialties and areas of practice, and because of the geographical spread out of clients, you don't see a clear, solid customer base. And investor, when they don't see something that is easily scalable and directly scalable, they tend to hesitate. So that's why legal tech is very important, but is much more difficult and needs a lot of awareness and improvement in this regard to bring more investment.
Okay, so, fantastic. I love that. There's definitely some opportunities. There's some growth in the ecosystem, but we also see some barriers and challenges. Sidebrief, I think you have been trying to scale outside Nigeria, and what has been, and I think you also, you've been in the process of raising to get to that pot of investments. How easy or difficult are you finding, and what are some of the sort of opportunities you're encountering, but also some of the challenges that you're encountering in terms of investments?
Right. So I mean, a whole lot of what Pascale has said has been true, right? There's literally a lot of money pouring into other sectors of the technology space. Like she said, I mean, bringing in this space can be quite challenging, but obviously with challenges, there are also opportunities. One thing that investors, in my experience, have always been asking is the scalability of the model, how it can be replicated across other jurisdictions. And we know that obviously that legal or law generally is different from case to case, from, I mean, even community to community, not to talk of, I mean, country to country, if you understand what I meant. So yeah, there's been those challenges, but I mean, it's a tougher problem to solve. I will tell you that for a fact. But I mean, the trend is quite promising. There's been signs of growth, right? Lawyers and legal professionals in general are beginning to adopt legal tech in the way they do business. And this is bolstering investor confidence in investing in all of this space. Major investments are literally coming from venture funds, accelerators. Even established legal institutions like law firms are also investing in some of these legal space. And I mean, the work that HiiL is also doing in this space as one of the accelerators that's laser focused on legal and justice problems is also very helpful. This sounds as as a kickstart for a lot of justice and legal based startups, helps them in, I mean, accelerating their growth. And literally there's with advancement in technology, with different innovation that is coming into space, we've seen, I mean, a highly increased trend in investing in the legal space. I think there was also a legal startup invested in by Google very recently out of the African continent. So I think a lot is going on, and investors are beginning to see that there's potential in the sector.
Okay. And I'll come back to investment because I would love to know. So, in terms of the trends, where is the money coming from?
Okay.
Is it because we can talk about the investment, you can see these trends, but where's the
Right.
money coming from? But I want to pause on that because one of the things I want to tie up with is with the level of the ecosystem and the enabling environment. So we know government and especially the court system, the judiciary, play a pivotal role in sort of creating an enabling environment for
Right.
tech adoption. What has been your view in terms of government creating an effective enabling environment for adoption of legal tech?
Right. I mean, government plays a very huge role, and there's literally a lot that can be done. Currently, a lot is being done in court system, in introducing technology, in filing cases, in e-filing, in all of these things in courts. I know, for instance, in Lagos State in Nigeria, a lot of processes are being filed online, and a lot is being done in that space. But I mean, a lot can still be done, right? So governments can be supportive in terms of creating an enabling environment. So when the regulatory environment is great, there are clear defined regulations, this can help. When the laws are also amended to introduce technology and allow all of these things done, maybe like virtual court sessions, a couple of all these things can also enable legal tech. I think governments can also play a huge role in funding and grants. So allocating funds and grants for research in the legal industry and the legal technology space can be helpful. I think going into collaborations with some of these startups, some of these private players, so like sort of like public-private partnerships, collaborations can also help in this space. And I mean, a couple of governments have been doing this. Modernization of court systems in general, right? Like I said earlier, e-filing, electronic case management, online dispute resolution platform, when you're able to stream court proceedings online. I think there's a bit of um, election cases going on in Nigeria, and obviously, like access to justice and all of these issues will be at the forefront. And I mean, if all of these cases can be streamed online and everybody can tune in, right, it would really go a long way. So I think there are a couple of other things, open data initiatives, and all of the other things that can also help in ensuring that the government, or there are other also different roles that the government can also lean on in terms of encouraging tech adoption in the legal system, really.
Okay, thank you for that perspective, Eunice. For Pascale, do you see the same for Middle East? Consider government traditionally has been seen as a laggard. It takes a way long time to get on board. So what is the feel in the Middle East?
Well, Eunice highlighted the key role that governments and court can play in this regard. But as you said, in the Middle East, we have where this is the role that they should play, but the challenges are like in the way of having this of reaching this level of or letting the government play their role that much. And because we have a problem of technological infrastructure in some country, and then we have the access to technology, because you have so many rural and underdeveloped communities, they do not have access to technology yet. So government need to invest in the technology infrastructure in order to be able to move to the next level. There's a lack of capacity building or lack of education. So a lot of training and education, not just for the legal profession, but for the clients who would be using these legal tech. And this is the major problem. Legal professionals might be or might be updating their skills or trying to learn and to adapt with this, but the clients, especially the older generation existing and living, that we have a big gap in this issue that we need to deal with. And then you have the resistance to change coming from even the legal professional. This is a conservative profession, and the way of doing things has been very traditional. So there's a resistance from many in the legal profession and even bar association to move suddenly or to shift suddenly or even to help government and court in reshaping this ecosystem. So yes, these challenges in the Middle East are in the way of improving the ecosystem. But as I said before, uh, there is a legal tech ecosystem. It is improving, it is growing, and there's so much opportunities ahead.
Fantastic. And I love that you mentioned about sort of this sense of resistance to
Yeah.
change, because the legal industry definitely is a very conservative industry. But one of the things that I look at it is in terms of talent. One of growing the talent to enter this space, to drive this kind of change and transition. So, but I've not seen, at least for my seat in Kenya, I haven't seen a lot of like ongoing training and capacity development for even in law schools, to actually get them up to date. Some higher education institutions are trying to do it. I think in Kenya, there's Stockholm University that's doing a fantastic job trying to get more of the young upcoming lawyers, already prepped with technology. But where do you feel like when you think about legal talent, uh, development and capacity building around technology, around the latest trend? Do you feel it's catching up? Is it still lagging? Is there a need to do more? I put out to both of you.
Right. I think generally there's a need to do more. I think the curriculum and coursework in most universities and higher institutions, I mean, I would speak for Nigeria, is still a little bit behind. And I mean, I've been in school a while ago. I've been about 10 years now. So maybe things have improved a little bit. But I would say that there's still a lot that needs to be done. I would compare my experience, I mean, undergrad while I was in University of Lagos, obviously, to when I went to grad school outside of Lagos in the United States. There's a wide difference, right? So back in undergrad, there's still like the manual way of doing things, right? Not a lot of cases are online, right? Um not a lot of companies have case management softwares, right? Not a lot of those exist in Lagos. So that can make the whole education system even a bit challenging, right? Because you don't have everything at your fingertips. Whereas in the United States, for instance, everything is digitized, like cases from way back from the 90s, from the 70s are all online. You can see all of these things online, and obviously it makes the learning process easier. You see that technological adoptions in the United States and in more advanced countries have gone a long way, right? So I would say that there's still a lot to be done in the curriculum and with the educational system in general. There can be a whole lot more tech adoption, because what currently happens is people get out of universities and out of higher institutions and try to navigate and figure these things out themselves. They learn things probably through their colleagues, through their peers, through, I mean, extracurricular activities, and not exactly, like you said, in Kenya, through the education system. So a whole lot still needs to be done in that respect, really. Yeah.
Fantastic. Pascal, your perspective?
Yes, I would add to what Eunice has said, which is very true. There's a lot still to be done. And we can now see that a major law firm have started even to put requirements of knowledge and know-how as
Right.
main requirement for hiring and for promotion. So legal professional um, don't have an option not to be updated anymore. And it's not limited to borders anymore. You have online training platforms. You have tech communities online where they can be members and keep up to date with the latest. They can read publications. They can attend legal tech events. So
Right.
it's everywhere. There's no limitation to what a person can do or try to do to get this know-how. And then, as we previously said, yes, the governments and the court play a big role as well. And the bar association for the legal profession they need to play a bigger role in awareness, advocacy, and even in organizing seminars and workshops to help the legal professional stay up to date and also be involved in this tech industry.
Okay, fantastic. I think we believe that some bits have been done, but there's still more to do.
Right.
And we need to push that envelope and involve different stakeholders, whether it's government, bar associations, higher education institutions, and even the professionals themselves to upskill and adopt technology widely. So I come from the school that, technology is a tool. It can be used for good or can be used for bad. And one of the key things that, there's, as we talk much about this trend and evolution and adoption of legal tech, what do you think are some of the ethical risks and challenges that we should be very cognizant about as we continue to adopt legal tech in our regions?
Right. I mean, I could go. So, I mean, obviously, like you said, there are a lot of ethical risk and challenges associated with technology in general, and I mean the use of legal tech more directly, right? There can be a lot of benefits, and I think we've highlighted a couple of all those benefits, but then there are potential drawbacks, right? So, with the use of technology, everything is literally online in the cloud, and that can bring a bit of data privacy and security issues, right? So storage of sensitive information would literally be in the cloud, and that can be accessible by anybody. And if it gets into the wrong hands, these are, I mean, legal issues potentially are private and confidential. So when these things get into the wrong hand, there can be misuse of personal information, unauthorized access. Obviously, all of these dangers are, I mean, a bit more. I think there was something Pascal has said, right? So, but I would be diving that a little bit more. The use of legal technology and technology in general can also bring access to justice disparities. I think she had said that, I mean, not everybody in the country has equal access to technology, right? So that can also widen that gap, right? Especially among people, I mean, in rural areas, right? And those who also do not have, I mean, immediate access to all of this technology would literally be left behind, right? There's a bit of tech illiteracy and resistance also. The tech profession, like Pascal had said, it can be a bit rigid, slow to evolve, right? So, I mean, there can be a bit of resistance in adopting tech solutions or technology, right? And I mean, those are also perceived risks that can happen in the adoption of, I mean, legal technology, right? Also, like, there can be cultural sensitivity, right? These are some of the risks, and not everybody might be willing to accept, right, all of these innovations, right? So there's a risk that some people are also not, I mean, on the roll and not involved and would not get on board with some of these innovation. But I mean, the two main risk, right, that I would highlight are literally the data privacy and security risk, because that is really perverse. And I will also say the access to justice disparities, because they can also, the adoption of legal technology can also widen the gap in terms of access to justice, really.
Thank you. Pascal? Any?
Sorry, I got disconnected.
So we are talking about potential drawbacks, ethical risk and challenges of legal tech adoption in our region. So, Eunice did a fantastic job to highlight two of them, which is sort of the privacy and security and protection of data. And then secondly is the sort of the, I call it digital divide, where it can exacerbate already existing access to justice issues, where people already left out from accessing justice are further pushed back to the margins. So where do you view or see other potential risks and challenges?
Okay, I would add to what Eunice said, which is essential, especially the privacy and security issue of the data. I would add also the bias of the AI algorithm, which we need to take into consideration because those algorithms are, I mean, it's according to what data they are trained on. So there might be bias which could lead to unfair and sometimes discriminatory, especially in the Middle East. And we also there's a cultural and language sensitivity that these legal tech platforms need to take into consideration. And also we need to consider the not the credibility, because definitely it's credible, but the update and accuracy of the data that comes out of these legal tech solution. So data need always to be updated and accurate, because some legal tech solution are fed with data that dates back to years and they are not updated. We need to be very aware of this. Then we have also the data ownership and intellectual property issue that could lead to a lot of consideration. Who owns this data that is on the platform? That is data that belongs to those clients. Plus, there's the consent of the user. Whenever a user use any legal tech, he needs to know how this data will be used, and he needs to consent to such usage. So there's a lot of ethical consideration in this regard. And we need not to forget the technical vulnerabilities as well, because AI are not immune to technical problems, and so there's always this consideration to take into aspect.
Fantastic. I actually you pushed us in a very interesting trajectory, which is artificial intelligence, the new buzz in town, AI.
Right.
So, what do you think is the role of legal practitioners and professionals such as lawyers in this AI-driven world? Um, so that's my first question. And tied to that, do you feel that artificial intelligence will affect jobs in this traditional conservative legal field? Or is there an opportunity where both can coexist?
Okay. Shall I go, or Eunice, you?
I mean, I'm happy to go. I mean, obviously, like AI is a disruptor, right?
Yes.
And I mean, in terms of jobs, obviously, there are going to be challenges. So all of these manual tasks, such as like maybe document review, contract analysis, I mean, basic legal research, obviously, would be performed more efficiently and accurately by AI powered tools. But like you said, I think it's going to be complementary. I would not envisage that it would wipe out obviously the entire legal profession, or I mean, some jobs obviously would be performed better than AI, but I mean, there's still a role for human reasoning and human judgment. And also, as Pascal has said, I mean, AI is efficient only to the extent that the underlying data is accurate, right? I mean, we've seen some of these AI powered tools bring out inaccurate information, right? And reliance on those would obviously not be very helpful. I think there'll be, I mean, new job roles that will emerge to complement AI development, implementation, and maintenance. And that a combination of both, I mean, legal professional skills, AI tools would be helpful in moving us to the next stage. But like you said, these are tools, right? They would always only be complementary, right? Obviously there are a lot of ethical issues involved, especially also in our side of the world. Things are slow. Adoption would be slow, right? But yeah, I don't think that all the jobs or all legal jobs would be wiped out. I think it would more be like a complementary tools, because I mean, most legal issues require complex human judgment that AI cannot give you. There's creativity, there's empathy. AI is not going to empathize with your client or on all of these issues, right? There's still a place for all of those judgments. So I think the more probable outcome will be, I mean, complementary in an area where these tools, this artificial intelligence would improve our efficiency, improve our effectiveness in the legal profession. So hand it over to Pascale.
Okay. Yeah, I would add the human touch, the empathy and human touch that AI cannot provide, the critical thinking. So definitely, lawyers will have their role might change. So AI, yes, surely have effect, but let's take the positive side of it. So you have on one side some job displacement because the AI or the legal tech platforms or whatever solution, technical solution we're creating, it will automate the routine tasks. So you have those tasks that will be performed automatically, and hence the positive side, the legal professionals will no longer do these routine work. They will have time to focus on high value work. So I always take the positive side of things.
Right.
Then you have some job that or some roles that will be shifted. For example, paralegals or junior associates role or whatever it is, their role will be shifted because they used to do things that the AI can do. But on the other side, there are new roles that are growing. For example, legal tech expert or AI specialist. So we have the creation of new roles. So and then let's see. For example, one important issue in the legal profession is that we will be seeing, because of AI, more focus on niche market of legal practice, because these niche markets are not targeted by AI. For example, a focus on oil and gas law, a focus on specific aspect of law or practice area, and these will be in high demand and highly valued. So yes, AI has certain effect, but definitely it will not replace the role of lawyers. It is a complementary tool, as Eunice said, and I think it's a tool that a human need to supervise because of the ethical consideration we said,
Right.
need to interpret its result, need to advise their client about its use and how it's going to be used in their case. So they have a very big role in this AI-driven world.
So fantastic. And I love that we should see AI as a tool to complement the work that legal practitioners and professionals do and to improve productivity. But at the end of the day, we still need to center the human person as the end recipient or result of whatever AI does. One of the key things, now tying up our conversation, has been I've had a lot from legal professionals and practitioners when they think about technology, and their concerns often is, do I need to go back to school and learn computer science? Do I need to have a degree in product development? Often there's this fine, we see a lot of these changes happening in the market around tech adoption, but we don't see how we can work together. So part of that resistance comes from that. So I would want, if I was to challenge you, you were to mentor, advise, guide young, upcoming legal professionals who are passionate about solving legal issues, but also really using technology as a tool, what would you tell them? What would be your advice? If they tell you, I'm scared, do I have to go back to school and learn tech?
Yeah, I think Pascal had mentioned the part of upskilling. That is very important, to be aware of what is going around you, on and around you. Attend workshops, attend events, and I think, like she had said, a lot of bar associations are doing this. I know the Nigerian Bar Association is doing this. There's like continuing legal education, which is mandatory, I think, in most jurisdictions. And I mean, courses in tech are being introduced as part of continuing legal education. And I would say that this is a way in which, I mean, legal professionals can upskill, can continue learning. Things are going to be, I mean, coming out day and day. There's going to be evolution, there's going to be innovation, there'll be changes here and there. But just being able to, I mean, keep up with all of these things. Today is AI, and we're all on the AI frenzy and trend. Tomorrow, it might be something else, right? So it's just, I would just encourage these individuals, these people. You don't literally have to go back to school. Some people will go back to school. to probably narrow down and learn a bit more. There are courses on AI, cybersecurity that lawyers are taking now. But that's not to say if you continue, that's not to say that if you continue with your, continuing legal education, attending workshops, be an integral part of your bar associations, because that's essentially their role, right? You'd literally be fine, and be open-minded also. So do not be rigid and be stiff and be like, no, AI is coming for my job, right? And just like be open-minded, be willing to embrace change. Change is the most constant thing in life. And I think would all do fine and we'll be fine, really.
Thank you. Pascale?
Yeah, I would say, they don't have, just like social media. When social media started, we all needed to accommodate, to learn about these new social media, how to work with them. It's just the same. I just take it the same. They need to undertake training just to learn about what is legal tech, what are the different options of legal tech available so they can use, and to train somehow on the basics of using these. They don't have to be tech expert or IT expert. There's always people that are expert doing this, they can consult with or bring on their team. But as legal professionals, they need to understand this legal tech and how it functions. They don't have to be tech experts. So, and this is a misconfusion for them, for many of them, and this is why they are finding it hard to accommodate themselves, because they have this misconception that I need to be a tech expert, or I don't know. So no, let's take it. It's just like social media. We all had to accommodate to use it. It's the same here. Things are changing. AI is not after anyone's job. AI is a tool. If we know how to use it, it will help us much. If we don't know how to use it, we will be left behind. So we either need to be evolving with this technological trend, or stay on a traditional way, which is not how things are moving around the world.
I think this is a fantastic sentiment, because at the end of the day, new tools have come into the market over time, like social media. Even my parents and my grandparents are learning to use social media, which so definitely the tool we can learn and use.
And Eric, we're still learning every day because of the new features and the new things on social media. There's always things to learn.
True, definitely. So keep a growth mindset and keep on learning and embracing change. I think that's the key essence of growth and becoming a lifelong learner. So that's fantastic. So now I want us to dream. So this is dreaming. AI has been rolled out. It's become ubiquitous across different geographies. So what does it mean to you to talk about the day after AI in terms of your ecosystem revolution?
Right. I think, the day after AI is sort of like a thought-provoking slogan, and essentially it's gearing our mind to reflect on the post-adoption phase, right? So of AI technology. So what impact would it have on our ecosystem, on the society as a whole? I think it would have a socio-economic impact. Certain jobs obviously would be wiped away. And like Pascal has said, certain other jobs would emerge, right? So employment, income distribution would change. Workforce training would also evolve in response to all of these shifts in AI. Obviously, there would also be increase in ethical and legal challenges, right? Like I said previously, there'll be privacy issues, right? And we have to ensure that, accountability is really taken at the highest level, right? The legal ecosystem would obviously also evolve. It would complement the way we do things, right? It would improve a lot of our process. There would also be, business and industry transformation, how effectiveness is measured, or customer experience, decision-making process. A lot of things would would change. Different competition would emerge, right? It would be our role to keep upskilling, right? Attend relevant and related programs or events that are necessary to ensure that we're still relevant in an AI-driven workplace or job force, right? I think it would also help in terms of, in government and public services in general, right? So AI's integration can help in altering the dynamics of governance. A couple of things that have been going badly. It could help highlight corruption and also be support the process of policy making and a couple of things. So in general, I think that we would come out better when there's increased adoption, and essentially like it will be more integrated in our everyday environment, really. Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get an AI drone or a robot doing most of my tedious administrative work. I see my day after AI to help with this administration work. But for you, Pascale, what is the day after AI?
I think Eunice pretty much summarized everything. So the day after AI is the post-implementation phase of AI, how things after we have those AI systems set in place and we accommodate with them, how AI changed the ecosystem, the business model, and the processes. But I think, in order not to repeat what Eunice has said, I think the ethical, regulatory, and access related challenges will remain. So this is a continual struggle and debate that will always take place. I don't see those things being resolved or settled. There will always be a debate on the ethical consideration, on data privacy, on intellectual property, consent, etc. This is, I think, this is a never-ending challenge that we're going to face.
Okay, so for this conversation, we have talked around how investment is impacting, growing, enabling sort of the legal tech space. We've also looked at the role of government and the court system. And lastly, we have focused on artificial intelligence and how it's shaping the legal profession, but also increasing opportunities for access to justice, while also keeping mindful of the ethical challenges and risks. But I want now to invite my panel members to tell us their parting shot as they consider of the richness of this conversation. What is your takeaway home? What is the thing you want to focus on as we conclude?
I would say for lawyers, law students, people who are interested in the tech space, I would say that a lot still needs to be done. There's still problems that can be fixed, right? So you should go ahead, provide solutions, right? Do not be afraid to get into the space. It's promising. There's signs of growth. Investors are pouring money also into the space. So there should be no deterrence at all to get into the legal space, provide solutions. You have, accelerators, incubators. You have people like HiiL who are going to be there to support your growth, right? Through your business, through the phase of your journey. So I would say get right there, dive into it. And concerning our conversations around AI, I would say that AI isn't coming to wipe away all our jobs. We should just see it as a tool. It's complementary, a tool that will make us more efficient, right? And just welcome change. Be open to change. Be open-minded, right? And we'll be fine. So that's my closing thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, I would also say to the legal profession, legal industry, students, or even clients, anyone, any stakeholders that legal tech might affect. Don't be afraid of legal tech. FinTech started already, and we saw how it is. Health tech already started with the telemedicine, and we saw how it's going. Legal tech is the same. So don't be afraid. Start small. Learn the few things, the basics that you need to know. Do pilot projects so you can test and see for yourself. You don't have to just know everything or do everything at the same time. See where you need to be more efficient. Start there, and then you take it to another level. This is how you try, you see, and you won't be afraid anymore to move forward.
Great, fantastic. Thank you for your thought. For me, I would say I'll speak first to the money bags, the investor out there. Please invest in this wonderful evolution. Don't wait to see what could happen. Take lead, take charge. There are amazing opportunities on solutions that entrepreneurs, innovators that are building on in terms of making legal tech more accessible, more affordable, and more leading to better and fair outcomes of that. So I would say put your money where your mouth should and really support the industry. So that's for the people holding the money.
Right.
And for the upcoming budding entrepreneur, innovator, there is a full field of great opportunities with a multi-set of tools, artificial intelligence being one of them. So it's an amazing opportunity for you to take charge, learn, upskill, but also try and experiment. That is the point of growing, but fundamentally holding the why you're doing, and the people you want to solve the problem for at the center of your work. That delivers fantastic results. And then for those who are already in the field, in the trenches, doing the work, we salute you. Like my two amazing ladies, we salute your work. We urge you to continue and keep at it, and let's make a difference around the legal space. And that's all for me, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.